And welcome to this Tuesday edition of Bury Your Bookie. I'm Jeff DeForest, and it's going to be somewhat of an abridged edition here because some numbers changed on the scoreboard, and we had to move our itinerary around a little bit. But nonetheless, we did see, and we were a little bit off base there, expecting another tight contest between the Edmonton Oilers, Florida Panthers. Did feel like the Panthers would have an edge coming back home, especially after it seemed like they had outplayed the Edmonton Oilers in the first two games of the series. They did lose the first one in overtime, won the second in double OT. So it looked to be fairly even Steven. It certainly was in terms of the series status at one game apiece. But the Panthers overall seem to be getting the better of it. And Skinner, especially suspect. If you looked at that goal that he gave up in double overtime to Brad Marchand, Marchand doesn't even get a stick on the puck there, and it slides through. You literally could have put a garbage can in front of the net there, and it would have been stopped. But nonetheless, went in. They evened up the series, and then last night, just a total annihilation. And then it ended up looking like the end of WrestleMania, where all of the wrestlers who have been in previous matches come flying out of the clubhouse, the locker room, and get into the ring there, and they all get into a scrum. It was a veritable bloodbath from that point on. 6-1 Florida Panthers. Does that give them a firm grip on command of the series? We've seen Edmonton bounce back. They have been playing dynamite hockey all throughout the playoffs, especially once you got past the first two games against the LA Kings. An occasional slip-up, but other than that, looked to be you're just in perfect sync to make things happen. Don't have one of their scorers, Zach Hyman, in the lineup. He's been out of the series, the only significant injury. But, wow, it sure looked like the Panthers were much the best after watching last night's game. So a couple of days off from the NHL Stanley Cup chase, as the next game up will be Thursday. So 2 days of rest there, resting the eyeballs and putting the Visine away that you've been gargling with throughout most of the postseason. And then baskets picks up tomorrow night. Interestingly, the Indiana Pacers, who played two very similar kind of outings, except for the rally in the first game. The second game looked very much like it. But you can't dismiss the rally in the first game, as the series is even at one apiece. Getting 5.5 points tomorrow night against the Oklahoma City Thunder, the team that everybody thought was so vastly superior that you had to lay $700 to win $100 if you were backing the Oklahoma City Thunder. You always ask yourself, who the fuck would do that as a betting proposition? Lay 7-1, no matter how much of a cinch it was. The one theory would be, if you had the 700, do you really need the extra stick? The tough part of that is, you only have to lose one time under those circumstances, and then you have to win the next 7 just to get back to even. So seems like too precarious of a predicament to put yourself in, because with, as you would say, with my luck, you're going to find yourself digging your way out of a deep hole if you're laying 7-1 with any level of frequency. So it was impossible to bet that, I thought. Plus 550 on the Pacers might have looked attractive. How attractive will that look if they manage to find a way to win Game 3 tomorrow night? That'll be interesting. I'd be tempted to take the 5.5 points. Is every game going to be an OKC blowout? Can Halliburton be limited in the amount of impact that he has on the game? He does have the huge impact when he hits the game winner, but other than that, it was a rather pedestrian effort by him, while Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the star on the opposite side, is putting up what's now become common, enormous numbers that he's been doing throughout the postseason. Hard to bet against that guy scoring 30, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. But we'll see if the Pacers can find some kind of competitive standpoint to go out there against OKC, defend their home wood. Well, would be very tempted to take the 5.5 points that are being offered up very generously by the bookies to a team that is even Steven in the series, and returning back home, where I'm thinking common wisdom is they get at least one of the two. So why not this one? And certainly with the 5.5 point allotment, looks like it'll be a favorable play. So they'll probably get blown out and lose by 30. But I don't know that OKC is that great, that they're not vulnerable and capable of throwing in, even as we saw, maybe it was only for half of a quarter, but they have thrown in the occasional stinker. So we'll see if they're up to the task coming up tomorrow night. U.S. Open, interesting betting propositions. I would imagine Scottie Scheffler somewhere around 3-1. I was looking at a list of sleepers and trying to see if I could force myself to make a case to put money on any of these guys. The one that really would be of some intrigue, 55-1, Ben Griffin, who has been hot lately. He won a tournament. He finished second in a tournament. He finished tied for eighth in his last outing. Those were his last three. 55-1, pretty generous price for a guy that's playing very well. Is he up to the so-called moment that they would say, the enormity of winning a major championship? Maybe, knocking on the door. So 55-1 might be worthy of some consideration. The question would be this, to hedge or not to hedge? That's the Shakespearean question that you always have to ask yourself when you're in a favorable gambling situation. Is the only purpose of betting Scottie Scheffler to be able to hedge off, thinking if you're getting 3-1, that gives you a chance to go ahead and lay off money on 3 bombs and hope you connect there. And if you don't, and if, as expected, Scheffler walks off with yet another trophy, another major championship, you're getting your money back? Or is it even worth putting that cash up to begin with? You have to ask yourself that. Because the odds have to be enormous. So who mows down 3 straight tournaments? That's what Scheffler's trying to accomplish here, including 2 majors back-to-back. Can he do it? I'm thinking no. I don't know. 3-1, 4-1 on something like that is just too short of a price. He may win it, but as they say sometimes, you're looking at a big favorite when you're out at the racetrack, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, that horse is likely to win, but he's going to win it without my money on him. The other side of that is there can only be one winner in a race. So if you're betting against something that you think is a cinch, what good are you doing yourself? None of the other plays can possibly have you cash. So do you bet against Scheffler in this spot? I'm thinking no money wagered on Scottie Scheffler is probably the wise play, and find something that's 25-1 or more, and take a few shots with that. And don't necessarily go too deep into your pocket on these bets, because it's possible to make a score without betting a lot of money, and that's the situation that you should always want to put yourself in. All right, we have to run night off from baskets and hockey, but some baseball activity going on. Mike Jones was right. The Red Sox went down to the Tampa Bay Rays with the emotions coming out of that Yankee series, and going against Tampa Bay, a team that is remarkable in the fact that they're still contending in the American League East after how many changes that they've had to make, because anytime they have somebody that looks like they can play, they end up with another team very quickly. How they sustain this front office ingenuity with the Tampa Bay Rays has to be unparalleled. But that was a good call last night, so hopefully you'll have some success with your baseball wagers tonight. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Tomorrow we'll do it again. I believe we'll feature Scotty M and some of his plays, and we'll zero in more heavily on that basketball game between OKC and the Indiana Pacers. I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next edition of Bury Your Bookie.